I thank the member and call the member for Wentworth.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. And thank you, Ms. Speaker. Ms. Deputy Speaker, apologies. So I just wanted to talk in this time about the youth of Wentworth and some of the issues that the youth of Wentworth are facing. And there are three issues that I would like to touch on. The first being public education, the second being youth mental health, and the third being housing. And I speak of these issues because these were the issues that were raised most with me by the parents, but also by young people in Wentworth. These are some of the most crucial issues that young people face, except climate change, which I'm very delighted to say that Australia has taken a very positive step forward to this morning in this Parliament. So let me start in public education. I spent the last 4 years of my career working with over 200 government public high schools and 40 businesses, helping young people be prepared for the world of work by bringing together people from students from education and people from business. And these are wonderful schools, but you won't find them really in Wentworth, because Wentworth only has one public high school, despite having a population of over 120,000. Wentworth has only one public high school and very limited public education choices at the high school. Now, that doesn't represent the desire of the Wentworth constituents. You see a high degree of public education in the primary school, but the dearth of opportunities in public education in the high school means that, that Wentworth as a community is no longer really engaging with the public education at the high school. And I think this is a significant issue because the community of Wentworth wants educational choice. We have the most expensive schools in the country. The average Year 12 fees for a private school in Wentworth is around $35,000 a year, which is out of reach of so many families. But because there's only one public high school in the area, there is not really that education choice. But you start with education, and then the second piece that I wanted to talk to was youth mental health, because again, this is a significant issue for the community of Wentworth. Again, when I was campaigning, I had a young man who I remember very vividly coming to talk to me, and I said, he asked me, "What are you doing for young men?" And I said, look, I think youth mental health is probably one of the biggest issues that young people, in particular young men, face. And he started, and tears came into his eyes, and he shared that his own experience, 2 of his friends had committed suicide the previous year, and that he himself this day was on his way to actually get some help for his own mental health. And that is one of the moments, one of the images and people from the campaign that has stuck most in my mind. And I will forever remember him, but I'll also remember those many other people I met on the campaign. And so for, again, doing some further analysis on this, talking to experts such as Professor Hickey in the area, there is an opportunity to do more in youth mental health, particularly in a community like Wentworth. And this is about not just spending more money, but this is about doing government better. And for me, that is what I'm seeking to represent in my role in the Parliament, that it's not always about just spending more money that achieves better outcomes. Certainly that is part of it, but it's actually about getting the states and the federal government working together and truly mapping where are the gaps in mental health and where can this community be better served. Now, I'm really pleased to note that Wentworth has its own lifeline opening up in this month. The Wentworth is going, and that's going to give an opportunity for Wentworth volunteers to come and support, young and old in mental health. And I wanted to really congratulate Lifeline Australia and also Daisy Turnbull, who have stood up for this and are pushing this forward. And the last issue I wanted to raise was housing, because that is the other key issue that people raise with me in relation to young people. Now, parents raise it with me because they say, I don't know how my children are ever going to be able to afford a house. And I acknowledge, what the government is doing in this space, but I think we are fundamentally missing some key actions around both housing supply and also around stamp duty reform. And you look at Australia's housing, we have only 400 dwellings per 1,000 people. Now that puts us on some of the lowest in the OECD. House prices have gone up 140%, between 1990 and 2015, and the housing stock is just not increasing with our population. Over that same time, it has just flattened. So I will be urging the government and working in my position as a Member of Parliament to seek some remedy that we can long-term address housing for our youth. Thank you very much.
I thank the member for